Hello, my witchy friends. It's Figbury ASMR, and let's go to the woods together. I went on a little cottage retreat with my best friends and my partner. And we tried to figure out what the secret of the swallowtail might be. There's this gorgeous swallowtail mural painted on the outside of the little cabin. And we didn't see any swallowtail butterflies, but I think we did learn the secret, which I'll tell you about at the end. But first, let's have a little coffee. I, of course, had to get Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin munchkin creamer because we may as well ring in autumn a little bit early. It felt like fall out in the woods, honestly. Take a cup of coffee, take a little peek out at the lake, and go into the incredible puzzles and board games cupboard. So you've got a lot of classics here, like Monopoly and Trivial Pursuit and checkers, of course. This place really felt like it was a time capsule. It felt like it was 1989 in like the safest, most comforting way possible. It felt like I could do any of these puzzles. I had all the time in the world to do them. Lots of landscape puzzles, of barns and gardens. But the one that intrigues me the most is this woods puzzle. Now the picture on the outside makes it look really faded, but I think that kind of conveys how mystic it is. I feel like a witch would just come meandering through the trees and offer you some kind of poultice. They're very careful with their puzzles, like all the pieces are in these nice Ziploc bags. I definitely would have done this one if it weren't for a little time I had. It was the Mystic Woods. But we did play a lot of Trivial Pursuit. This was like the Master Game edition. A lot of the questions were really old, quite outdated, but in like a cozy, nice way. Made us laugh at the very least. The board has spokes like a wheel. And one of my friends, Nora, brought this insect guidebook and was drawing out of it. But it's really beautiful. It's like a pocket reference card to insects. There were a lot of insects, so it was kind of fun to try and identify them. There were also a remarkable number of books. Bogs of the Northeast. I'm pretty sure that my category of witch is bog witch, because I spent a lot of time barefoot in the mucky bogs. They're very warm. You can hear me shushing somewhere coming into the room, because we're at the cottage. We have to be quiet. Here's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. A lot of these books feel like they've been left behind by previous guests. This one, I have a whole video coming out on it, maybe next week. It's full of witch stories, ghost stories, vampire stories, tales of the paranormal, everything you could ask for. There was also this beautiful wood mural of sorts, carved picture with this owl on it. And the whole time I was here, I wanted to just trace it. It has such a rustic quality to it. Like, there are very few places where this would look good on your wall. I think the cottage is one of the only places. These little trees. And there's little babies as well. I believe these are barn owls, which are my favorite type of owl. Very detailed. It just looks like somebody made this, like a passion project or something, to decorate the space. I also foraged a couple of wildflowers and a cattail. I loved cattails because of the danger. They might burst at any minute. And there's also all sorts of very cottagey things hung up, like this really pretty picture of a bunch of farmhouses. And there's a loft bedroom in this cottage, which I did not sleep in, but if I would have slept like a rock. Very cozy little single bed with the loveliest quilted bedspread. The bedspreads and the curtains and things were amazing in this place. I'll show you more of them later in this video. That ivy pattern. After going kayaking, we came back to two of our cottage-going friends sleeping to a cryptids documentary. And then we lit a fire. And it was difficult at first had rained all day before. And when we rolled in, there was a mist hovering above the road. But it was worth it because we experienced the Perseid meteor shower. We saw so many shooting stars. It was the best. Truly one of the most magical things. And we also had s'mores because you have to when you're at the cottage. And my bedspread was like 90s celestial. I had to show you because I will never sleep this good again. This like whimsical aesthetic is everything. The next morning I went for a little walk. And there's a beautiful bridge that takes you over a stream. You can kind of hear it running in the background there. The weather we had was really beautiful. This side is particularly bright, and you could, if you wanted, swim in this stream or walk in the water because there's really soft sand in the bed of it. So I decided I'd go for a little walk alongside it and see what I could find. A lot of frogs. Let's look for some together. Have to be really, really sneaky. Also, so many crunchy leaves. I know there has to be a frog around here somewhere. You can hear me going barefoot into the mud. Okay. Little reeds and cattails. And I see one right ahead. Just relaxing in the warm water. You can hear they make a little bit of a chirping sound when they're alarmed by you, and it's really, really cute. I don't think I've ever been as close to a frog as this guy. Look at him. They really just let you come right up. And before I caught a little frog, but we let him go, don't worry. Here's another one. And one of my favorites over here. Just floating in the sunshine. Enjoying the nice weather, taking a little swim. It was my favorite thing to trot about in this warm water. There were also so many trees. One of my favorite things as a kid was to pick at the bark of a tree. That snapping noise is so nice. So much of this trip was spent just like fully surrendering to the sun, to nature, slowing down. Really doing things the way that you would do them as a kid. I love birch trees just because their bark can be used for all sorts of different things. And there was a little witchy kettle. There was actually two of them. This one was fully rusted, but I could cast a spell. And I spent some time sneaking up on butterflies and moths. This one really didn't want me near. Finding all sorts of beautiful herbs and flowers in the bush. I also found these berries. I have no idea what they are, but if you know, leave a comment below. They probably aren't edible, knowing berries in the woods. But they gleam kind of like pomegranate seeds in the sun. Remind me of chokecherries or gooseberries. It's been so long since I've just touched some leaves. Honestly underrated. Now we're in the woods and we found bones. There's this like structure with a bunch of different bones on it. There's a moose skeleton. I walk through it here. Here's the moose skeleton with some little red button mushrooms. They're kind of all over. And here Nora's giving us some of the tingly noises. You can hear me crunching. More of those mushrooms. One of my favorite ASMR triggers is crunching leaves. For for all of us, the woods was so overwhelming because we are city people. We never spend this much time in nature. They all walked along this fallen tree. I looked for creatures inside hollows. And I remembered what it was like to just be with myself. I had really forgotten. I love that you can hear my friends just chattering in the background. The more we walked in the woods, the darker it started to become. At first, the trees weren't very dense, but I started to notice all of us become quieter and quieter the further in that we walked. There were still quite a few miles for us to walk on this trail, but there were moments when I just wanted to stop and stare. I don't know if you've ever felt the pull of a forest before, but it's extraordinary. And when you feel it for the first time, whether as a kid or as an adult, you never forget it. On one of my many kayaking excursions on this trip, we skirted this wood, and the closer we got to it, the fresher the air became. It was like magic. But we really wanted to see a moose because this area has lots and lots of moose. We didn't see one, but we did see a bald eagle. We actually saw quite a few. Here's some pretty little flowers. Here's the darkest part of the woods. One of the mornings, Nora went and came back to this part and had a little bit of tea and just had to think. You have to be really brave to want to go into the woods by yourself. Luckily, a lot of the path was graveled, so we didn't have to stray too far from any trails. I always imagine how many creatures are observing me. It's kind of comforting because I'm just a guest in their home. We continued down this path for a little while, looking up at the trees, breathing in that fresh, incredible oxygen. And I started to realize what the secret of the swallowtail might just be. Now, there's a little guest book. Everybody is encouraged to write in it. And on our last day, I took a little bit of time to write what I thought the secret might be. I think the secret is the loons, which we heard almost every night and during the day too. And it's the frogs. It's the fact that when you walk in the doors of the cottage, it feels like it's 40 years in the past. And nobody can reach you. It feels like all you want to do is play board games and talk with your friends and read a book for hours on end. These are all things that are hard to replicate when you live in a city. As we wandered back in through this little trail, listen to the birdsong. We stumbled upon the bones again. Here, my friend tells me I'm stepping on a bone, which made me laugh a little bit. But the secret of the swallowtail really was how much stronger my friendships became, how much I realized that all that really matters is having good people around you, getting a little more sunlight and reconnecting with yourself. That is the most nourishing thing that you can do. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a rest